Hello, my lovely little crustaceans, barnacles that are watching my channel for some odd reason. To my 10 viewers and my mom, shout out to you guys. You guys are the best. Now, if you click this video, you are probably wondering what dopamine is, how dopamine affects your life, how you can stay more focused, how to actually get fulfilled doing the hard stuff that progresses your life. So, likely, you're not actually lazy. Your brain is just fried on dopamine. If you've ever wondered why it's so hard to stay consistent with things that take a lot of mental energy, like going to the gym, reading books, working on your business, staying locked into a task, only consuming like highly valuable, high leverage knowledge things, well, it's possible you just have a dopamine problem. So if you could take control of the way your brain produces dopamine, and you're conscious and aware of how it works, you can completely take over your life and start progressing towards your goals. Now, if you've been around the internet space, dopamine is nothing new to do. You know dopamine detox, you know the benefit, you know what it is. This is for all you newcomers that don't know what dopamine even is. I'm gonna get into a full explanation of what dopamine even is. For all the people that know what's going on, you can just skip ahead to the next part of the video where I talk about best practices. Okay. My friendly little furry buddies, just random stuff to call you guys. I'm no neuroscientist, and I'm not a professor of ophthalmology and neurology at Stanford School of Medicine. So, you should definitely check out Andrew Huberman's in-depth videos on dopamine. He's done a lot of great videos where you can highly educate yourself on what it is and how it works. But I can give you a brief, surface-level monkey explanation. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter. It's basically a chemical in your brain. So your brain perceives one thing, like cake, and it fires dopamine. It associates that with good. Now, cake is highly stimulative. It has a lot of sugars. Sugars are rare in nature, right? So whenever our brains as an animal in nature would find some sugar, it would be like, this is super good. Let's super reinforce this. Big companies just kind of take advantage of this concept that our brains are structured to seek out and fire a lot of pleasure on scarce resources found in the wilderness, which is how fast food chains can become so addictive, and where, you know, people will struggle with weight issues and all that stuff because they literally are just following their animal programming. Now, there are 4 different types of this neurotransmitter that you got to be aware of. I'm going to spit out a lot of big words here that have a lot of syllables, but please don't click away. Like, just commit to the video for once in your TikTok brain life. 1, mesolimbic pathway. This is just a simple pleasure, reward, kind of similar to the cake thing that I was talking about. This kind of is encompassing in food, sex, things that net benefit like your body as a human. And then you got mesocortical pathways. This is more long-term planning and focus. This is where your dopamine is firing at a steady rate and it's satisfying enough for you to pay attention and actually focus on a thing because you're gonna have a great reward at the end of it. Nigrostriatal pathway, probably is how you pronounce that. I don't know, I'm not a scientist. This is more so movement. These are dopamine that fires movement, probably tied to some sort of athleticism. Tuberoin fundibular, that is a wild word. Basically, it connects the hypothalamus to the pituitary gland, and it helps you regulate hormones and make sure your body is optimized and doing well. Okay, so dopamine fires whenever you get the reward, right? When you're actually eating the cake, but more so it spikes when you anticipate that cake is coming. And so if you've you know that there's cake in the fridge, you know you get to eat it, you know like the anticipation is building up, right? Like it's great, like you are in it. And this is where addiction is, like you have to pinpoint the addiction, and it doesn't have to be like a crazy addiction. You could just be addicted to like social media or video games. It doesn't have to be like a heroin addiction, right? But basically you have the anticipation that you get this reward at a certain point. And so this is actually when your dopamine is the highest. And this is where your brain is just like, woo, like it's living off the anticipation factor. And so whenever you actually do the thing where you eat the cake or play the video games or scroll social media, this is where dopamine gets released and the cycle begins to form neurons that wire together and start anticipating it and creating a habit. Now, when you don't get this anticipation, then your brain's super confused. Or when you don't get the reward, your brain is super confused. It's like, okay, we just spent all this time like preparing for this. This was going to be a great thing, but we didn't get it. And so this causes a massive like error and in your brain, and you're just like, what is going on? But this is where you can begin to break habits and dispel habits that are bad for you. So the last thing you need to understand is your baseline. Everybody has a baseline dopamine. And as you consume things like social media, like if you're just scrolling TikTok, firing all your dopamine, your baseline starts to lower. And it's like you need that hit every day or you're gonna feel pretty crummy and pretty sad. Now this is where doing a detox works wonders because you just cut off all forms of dopamine. So your baseline gets crazy sensitive to now you don't need cake, heroin, social media, 5 gummy blowjobs. You can actually just get satisfied because your baseline is so sensitive. You can just read or work out or work on your business and you're super satisfied. It's like eating cake. It's super satisfying. So let's jump into actual dopamine detoxes. Now, a couple options here. You have a hard dopamine detox, which is 24 hours, cut everything off. Typically, the best practice here is just to sit in your room and literally not do anything. You don't eat, you don't drink anything, you literally don't do anything besides just sit, kind of stare at the wall. That is super hard, nightmare mode, dopamine detox. Now, you can scale it back and do more gradual resets for the day to where maybe you can take a walk, maybe you can journal or read a book. However, taking walks, journaling, and reading books all release dopamine, believe it or not. So, if you want a hard dopamine reset where your baselines return to normal in 24 hours, you just got to lock yourself in a closet for a day and just think and just be alone with your thoughts. It's kind of scary. It's okay. Of course, you can do a mild dopamine detox where basically you just don't drink any caffeine, don't eat anything sugary, don't watch TV, don't get on your phone. Definitely don't get on your phone. You can read, you can journal, you can sit and meditate and stretch and maybe go for a walk. Things that are really low stimulation, that don't overfire like your dopamine. And this I've found is the sweet spot for me where I like to do this once a quarter. I'll just turn my phone off, turn everything off, and I'll just sit and process my thoughts and let myself enjoy the boredom and just literally sit around and not really do much. And then you have a spread out timeline. This is actually what I'm in the middle of right now. So I've cut out all social media for the week. And my goal is pretty simple, just to upload a YouTube video every single day. And these YouTube videos, I now have sudden crazy motivation to pump out left and right. Like I've literally uploaded 2 since this video, which my upload schedule is like once a week, once every 2 weeks. And now I've broken my own personal record because I have all this motivation to actually work and script these videos out and film and set up the lighting and background and everything and edit them and pump them out for no views. But that is literally the power of dopamine detox. And for the most part, during the day, doing my actual work is very satisfying as well. Like I'm not distracted, I'm not drawn towards my phone to mindlessly scroll or get distracted or anything like that. I'm really highly focused on high leverage tasks, and I've been able to push my business a long distance this week for sure. Now, of course, when you hard cut off everything, there's a sudden drop in dopamine. And so you're not used to basically all this lack of dopamine. So you could be a little glummy. It's fine. You'll get over it. You get used to it, really. And things that were boring suddenly start becoming fun. So I challenge you to think of something in your life that you've been wanting to pick up or commit to or really stick it out for, and you do it a little bit, but then you suddenly lose the motivation. You find yourself scrolling, you find yourself watching TV or movies or playing video games or eating sugary foods, highly processed foods. You're against your diet, you're against your workout, you're not focused on your business, you're not posting content, you're not doing the thing that you know is gonna be a high leverage task for you. Like think of what that one thing is, and then think of something that you do that is highly stimulative, like whether it be scrolling social media or eating junk food or fast food, whatever it may be for you, and just cut it out for a week, and then try to replace that with the one thing that you want to do. And you'll find that your brain, the baseline gets lower, you get a little sad for a little bit, it's okay, and then you start associating pleasure with doing this one thing. Making this video is honestly fun. There's a few studies done on mice regarding dopamine. I'm gonna cite you guys Olds and Milner in 1954, one of the OG dopamine studies. Basically what they did is They hooked neurons, electrodes up to a certain part of the mice's brain, now to referred to as the mesolimbic dopamine pathway, and they stimulated this specific area. Basically, this is where the dopamine was secreted. And they tied that stimulation to a lever that the mice could pull. And so the mice infinitely pulled it. If you can imagine, it's like you scrolling TikTok. You're just pulling the dopamine lever. Do, 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 do. Not worried about nothing. And so they infinitely pulled this, and the mice didn't need food or water or sleep because they were getting pleasure. They were literally like, oh, this is great. Pull, 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 and then they died. So they literally fired dopamine with zero context, realizing that they're just dying, and just died. Died in bliss, I guess. And so our brain isn't like concerned about the source of dopamine. It doesn't really have context. Dopamine is just a 0 and 1 circuit. It's just like, well, this is a great hit, and we're not really concerned about the consequences, so let's die. It's okay. You guys aren't forced or subjugated to die without being able to control your dopamine. All you have to do is become conscious of it, become aware of it. Just realize, oh, this phone is constantly pulling my dopamine. Every notification, every color, every sound that I get from this phone fires my dopamine a little bit. So then my threshold goes down. If you can imagine you have like 100 points of dopamine every day, your phone is probably eating away all of it. So then of course you don't have motivation to do any of the things you want to do. Similarly, highly stimulated foods like pizza, burgers, really greasy, saturated foods that have all these chemicals that fire all this pleasure in our mouths and tastes amazing, but then like 5 hours later we regret every life decision. This is a similar thing going on. So once you learn how to master dopamine and be extremely intentional with the dopamine that goes in your brain, your focus is going to skyrocket. You're going to be literally content with doing whatever you want to do. The hardest tasks you can think of, you can focus on for 16 hours every day. And at the end of it, literally be content with that, to where it becomes the habit, where that is your heroin. Working on your business, or going to the gym, or journaling, or doing whatever you're gonna do is literally your heroin that gives you the most fulfillment. Of course, until you fuck around and actually play video games or go to social media, then you just get a way bigger hit of heroin that your body's not used to, and it's gonna want to optimize, like, get more of that. And so you have to be very deliberate and careful and like understand, okay, I'm gonna just literally get a huge dose of dopamine here, but it's planned and calculated, and it's like, okay, this is how we're gonna manage it and ensure that we're still making progress to our goals ultimately. If you guys enjoyed the video, smash that thumbs up, leave a comment, and would love to chat with you guys.